Hey guys, Jorge Pelayo. Today I want to talk about how I became a successful life insurance agent. Many guys that are in the industry, you know we do life insurance. If you're running across our videos and you're more familiar with the sales or the leadership, we actually run an insurance agency. And we were going through different concepts of how could we help more agents that are out there that are struggling in the life insurance industry to kind of share what helped us make our first 6 figures, our first 7 figures. And so I came up with 15 different points that I wanted to cover with you guys. First you got to be exposed into the life insurance industry. So my buddy said, hey, come check out what I'm doing. I really wasn't interested. I didn't know anything about life insurance. It wasn't something I was passionate about, nor interested in learning. I'm doing real estate. I'm going to college. I'm working as a server in a restaurant, and finally he was very persistent. He got me to go to this meeting. I go to the meeting, I understand how much more life insurance actually affects, how a life insurance agent can actually help a family plan their financial future, right? Whether that's saving a little bit more for retirement, doing a fixed index annuity, doing the right life insurance, doing maybe a cash value product if there's something that they want something permanent with some savings. And there were so many other things, living benefits, if they got sick, that they could have an income. And I was like, wow, this really ties into real estate because I'm helping a lot of people buy homes and I'm talking to people that can't buy homes and they need to save money. These products could be used for that. So I said, let me integrate life insurance into my practice. That's how I got introduced to the industry. I got licensed right away as fast as I could at that time. And the most important part is I found the right model for me. So before I go into the 15 points, when I say right model, I had experienced having a cold call in real estate. I didn't like cold call. I didn't like going door to door. Nothing wrong with that. Respect people that do it. It takes a lot. But that just wasn't something that I wanted to do. There was companies out there that they bought leads and you'd have to spend $1,000, $2,000 a week to go buy leads or per month, and then you're basically cold calling people that responded to something online somewhere at some time. And I was like, man, I don't have the money to do that, nor do I want to do that. That's kind of like cold calling, but it costs more money. And so I said, okay, so how do we get clients here? And the model there was, hey, this is all organic. You're going to get your license. We're going to put together a list. You're going to say, hey, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get some experience. Will you help me with the training? And through that, we're going to take a trainer. You're going to go with a trainer and you're going to get a chance to watch them present, learn from them, get referrals, get the word of mouth out there. And I said, okay, let me start there. This is an easier way of me starting, especially coming from real estate where it was like, get a license and then go figure it out by yourself. There's a lot of life insurance agents that do not have any good training, good support, good mentorship, access, good software, good systems. And I think that's extremely important. And being the fact that the agency that I was at, the real estate agency, didn't offer any kind of training, any kind of system. It was super casual. And then the insurance agency I was a part of had weekly trainings every Tuesday, Saturday, product training throughout the week. A trainer was going to take me in the field, let me shadow them. There was somebody I could practice with and they would audit and help me do case design. And I was like, man, this is a lot of support. So I kind of like that model. And then I realized that, hey, through this down the road outside of referrals, some of these people may want to become clients and then give referrals. Some of these people may want to become an agent, get their license, and then they're going to need somebody to train them. And I could be the trainer for the team and through that help them get referrals and build an agency that constantly keeps bringing in leads, warm leads versus cold leads. So that's kind of very important for those of you guys that are different models. I got a lot of offers. Hey, here's an 80, 90% contract, 100% contract, 120% contract. And when you're brand new, you don't know anything, it's very tempting, but you realize that, hey, those don't come with any support. And also, they're not really built for building a business. They're built more for personal producers, somebody that wants to just go, sell. And there's nothing wrong with that. I wanted to get into sales to build a business that would eventually give me passive income and give me my life back. And I could be free and I could travel and I could build other businesses and I could, do things that I'm passionate about. I can enjoy my family. I could see the world. So I wanted more of a long-term business than just a sales company. Again, there's no right or wrong, whatever's right for you. For me, I said, okay, long-term wise, I want to be able to duplicate, transfer my skills, and mentor and coach other salespeople and help them build their own agency. So that's kind of how I got into the industry. So let me jump into the 15 points. Number one, I attended every training. Every training that was possible, available, I attended the training. There's a lot of people get into the industry and they don't want to go to the training. Like another training, that's the difference. Somebody's getting better, you're not. You need to make training a priority. In our company, we do training every Tuesday night, every Saturday morning, Tuesday night system, Saturday morning product. We bring in product providers to come train. So I attended every meeting. I didn't want to. There was a lot of times where I didn't feel like going to the meeting, but I knew like, man, you got to go get better. You got to get better. If you get better, things are going to get better. So I attended every training. That's number one. Number two, I asked a lot of questions. You know, sometimes we'll be in a training and somebody will say something, you don't understand it, and you know, you let it go. And I did that in school, and there was, you know, I should have engaged more. I should have, hey, I don't get it, you know, and we oftentimes don't want to be like the person like, hey, I'm sorry, I just don't understand, I'm not getting it. There's a bunch of other people that didn't get it, but nobody wants to raise their hand or say anything. So whether that's you saying, hey, you know what, can you say that again? Can you repeat that? Hey, I didn't understand that product that you just said. Where do I get that phone number? How do I learn that? Or hey, can I ask you a question afterwards? Is there a way I could follow up with you? But I asked a lot of questions. When you're 19 years old, you're getting into insurance and financial services. You don't know anything about financial services. I don't have a background in that. So I asked a lot of questions. Number 3, I went on appointments with a trainer. So in our model, when you're brand new, you go on 10 practice appointments with a trainer, right? Hey, listen, I'm new, I'm getting my license. Can you help me with a practice training? And then a trainer would take me and I would watch their presentation. And that's number 4. I studied their presentation. So here's a couple things that I looked at. 1, how did they build rapport and gather data? Because through that rapport building, they're getting to know that family, about their kids, about how they met, about what they do for work, about their situation, so that later on they can customize that presentation. So that was really important because I didn't know, like, what do I say? How do I start the conversation? What are the questions that I asked? And I wanted a system for that, that, hey, anytime that I go into an appointment, I know I'm going to go through this system. And so that was really, really helpful. Next one, I wanted to know how they connected with people. So, you know, truly being genuinely interested in that person and how to connect. Number 3, I wanted to know what they presented. So how they got into the presentation, what they said, how they transitioned, what questions they asked throughout the presentation to engage the person. And then from there, how they closed. You know, when it got to the end and they're like, hey, so here is, and then question, right? Hey, listen, so based on what I covered today, do you feel like you should be saving more money? Yes. Well, that's a good question. Hey, do you want to make sure your family has the right type of life insurance and, you know, the right amount? Yes. Hey, would you like your policy to include, you know, living benefits in case you have a chronic illness or a critical illness? Yes. Oh, wow, those are 3 great questions. Let me ask that. So I realized that there were some concepts throughout the presentation of identifying the need, disturbing, connecting, telling a story. And, you know, I started learning the power of stories. And you guys hear this, like, story sell, facts tell. So I started realizing, like, wow, I really kind of need to figure out my own presentation, which we'll get to in just a second. And number 5, I met with external wholesalers and internal wholesalers. In the life insurance industry, those are the salespeople that their job is to go out there and meet with the agents, connect with them, explain their product, their portfolio, answer questions, say, hey, this is where we're better. This is where, you know, we're strong in this market. And I would ask a lot of questions. Hey, can we pull up your illustration? Can I look at this? What does this mean? Why do you do this? What do you do for this client? How are you guys different than that company? Where are you better? What's the deal with the loans where you can pull out money tax-free? I heard that. How does that really work? And I asked a lot of detailed questions. And we went to lunch. We went to play golf together. Like, these guys, they want to earn your business. And so part of that's relationship development. The other part is they really like people that are grateful for them and treat them like people. And I built some great friendships with those guys, and some have become friends. And so meet with the support team that you have. Number 6, I studied sales books and sales concepts, okay, and insurance concepts. So we went to a Tom Hopkins convention, and I learned how to ask questions. There's actually a video that we did on different types of questions that you can ask that was extremely helpful, from a tie-down, alternative choice, involvement questions, open-ended questions. So if you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend that. So I learned how to structure presentations that involved people, asked the right question, got small agreements along the way. And then I really understood sales concepts through books like Power of Zero, Tax-Free Retirement, Retirement Miracle. And so those are really helpful books. So I started becoming a student of this profession. Nobody's born with an education on how to do anything, right? So anybody that's successful, it's because at some point they took the time to master that craft. So don't be intimidated, and don't be disappointed if you're not good at it. I wasn't good at it, and I think I'm pretty good at it now. I always think there's room for improvement, but we've done roughly $40 million last year, so we kind of know what we're doing. But it was practice, okay? A lot of practice. Next one, I researched how other agents sold. So I'd go on YouTube and I would watch videos of how to present IUL, how to present term, how to present an index annuity, how to X, right? So there's so much available today to help you, where if you're struggling in an area, it's not a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. You just got to get clear on where you need to get better, target that, right? Even on objections, you can say, man, I keep getting this objection. How to overcome this? And right there on YouTube, you can go out there and find out 7, 10 different videos and find the one that connects with you and relates to your personality. Next one, I structured my own presentation. So I used the resources, but I made it mine. Hey, what am I going to say? What are my questions? How do I build that rapport? How do I then transition? How do I tell my story? How do I customize my story for a different market? Whether it's somebody that's just starting in life, somebody that's a little bit more in the middle of the road, somebody that's sophisticated, somebody that's advanced, somebody that's a business owner. I had to create same presentation, but again, how do I customize it to different markets? What questions am I going to ask along the way? What objections am I expecting to get? And how do I build in that objection in my presentation so that I could take away the objection at the end of my presentation? You know, for example, maybe it's I want to think about it. So somewhere in the presentation, I would say, hey, you know, a lot of people always say I want to think about it. And, you know, call me next week, call me next month, call me next year. Next year becomes next decade. Next decade becomes never. They're 65 overnight. And when they turn 65, they're like, man, I wish we would have done something. But because we're always waiting for the right time, the right situation, the right environment, we never get started, you know? I would tell stories like, you know, it's October's what? Halloween. November, I can't see. Call me in November, George. Well, November, hey, how you doing? You know, man, it's Thanksgiving. Call me in December. Okay, no problem. Hey, December's Christmas. Hey, call me in January. Hey, man, we're recovering from holidays. Call me in February. Hey, February's Valentine's Day. You know, I got to take my sweet. Okay, hey, call me in March. Dude, it's my son's birthday. Hey, call me in April. Dude, it's tax season. There's always a reason not to save. So I started learning how to build in these objections into my presentation, build in my transitions, involvement questions. So that really helped so that I could be more present instead of thinking about what do I say next. Number 9, after every no in the field, I would get a lot of no's because I wasn't a good salesperson and I didn't come from this background. But the difference was after every single meeting, I called my broker and I said, hey, I was in the field with this family. This is what they said. And he's like, so how did you overcome it? I was like, I didn't overcome it. They said, no, I didn't know what to say, man. And he was like, okay, let's role play it, right? So grateful to Pat. Those role plays changed my life because I learned how to sell. I'm a server at Red Lobster, man. What do I know about being an insurance agent? And so the role play, and I don't think enough people debrief after an appointment to find out what they could have done better. So that truly helped. Every no helped me learn how to get a yes, only because I processed the no. Next point, number 10, I kept believing this would work. I said, man, if this works for other people, if there are other agents in this industry that are millionaires, that are decamillionaires, and this industry has been around for hundreds of years, and these guys are top producers and top brokers and if it's worked for somebody else, that means the business works. Every company that's a large company has multiple people that make millions of dollars. So obviously the industry works, and obviously it's something that I got to change. And so I believed in the process and I bought into the concept of follow-up and long-term thinking. I remember my first month I ever made $72,000 in a month in the life insurance industry came from a couple referrals, a couple meetings, where I followed up with these guys for 3 years. 3 years on one, 2 years on the other. And I just kept calling every 90 days. Hey, how you doing? Hope everything's good. I'm just doing my check-in. Is it okay if I check back in the future? I know things change. I don't want to bother you. Yeah, of course, George. Awesome, man. And and then learning how to follow up, and this is not that video, but when you take notes on what's going on with clients and you know what's going on in their life, and the next time you check in, I remember I'd call people and I'd say, hey man, how you doing? Good. Hey, listen, I know last time we talked you were taking your daughter to college. How's she doing? How's the family? It was a friendship that was developed versus, hey, do you want to buy? Hey, do you want to buy? Hey, do you want to buy? Hey, is timing better now? Hey, do you want to buy now? Nobody likes those people. They'll ignore your calls. But if you can build a positive connection, you can become friends with these people and truly treat them like people, treat them like a friend. They'll feel that. So I bought into that long-term thinking. That was essential for me for my transition because, I thought that, hey, people come into business and they become wealthy. If they're supposed to be successful, they're going to be successful right off the bat. And that was a limiting belief because I had never been successful at something. So I thought maybe I just don't have it versus anybody can improve, and if you keep improving, you're going to eventually be successful in that. So That was one of the points. Number 11, I separated myself from the outcome, okay? I separated myself from the outcome. I was stressed out. Going into a presentation, I'm like, man, this person's got to say yes, and I got to convince them, and man, I don't know, what if they don't, and I'm like, man, I'm tired of doing a meeting like this, of trying to convince this person. And I was playing this this inferior role of like, please, and I wouldn't say that, but my mentality was like, man, I hope they say yes, please say yes, because I'm trying to pay my bills, I'm trying to survive at this time, I'm full time. And I said, you know what, George, it's not your job to get them to say yes. That's their responsibility to take care of their family. Your job is to educate them on what their options are, be a professional, be kind, find what's missing, add value, show them options, help them make a decision. But if they say no, that's completely up to them. When I realized how much people needed for retirement and kind of how to figure that number out for them and help them figure out their financial independence number, when I realized how much somebody needed in insurance and kind of how to do their dime, debt, income, mortgage, education, and help them figure that out and find their gap and then look at what they had and know what was wrong with it and educate them on that, like that's my job. And I was like, if you don't want to help your family, that's on you. And I didn't say that because that's offensive, but that was the mentality that I had. And that completely changed my presentation from people felt that energy of, man, this guy really believes in what he's doing and he's challenging me, but in a respectful way. He's being kind, but he's asking some really strong questions and he's adding so much value and he's showing me that I'm not on track whatsoever. And that's when my income started changing. So that's a huge one. Make sure you know the value that you're bringing to a client. And if you bring a ton of value, you should expect to be successful. Next point, I chose to keep learning. I know that's a simple point, but I chose to keep learning. Sometimes when people know something, they say, hey, I know enough. And there's this great quote that says, you don't have 20 years of experience, you have 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. There are things that I'm doing in our agency today where I'm recreating myself now, year 19 in the business, and trying to simplify, identify truth, trying to get better. So I kept learning. A person that keeps learning, constantly keeps adding value to themselves, has more value to share with their team, with their clients. So keep learning, make it a nonstop process in your life. Number 13, I built an agency. And you say, well, what does that have to do with becoming a successful life insurance agent? There's different models of kind of how you go out there and you generate income. I realized that I'd rather be in the business of helping clients, but also teaching agents how to do the same. And there's some really good months that I've had that are great, and I've had some bad months. But because we developed an agency, the good months were even better, and the bad months were still great because of the level of consistency. So the larger the agency, it's kind of like a mutual fund, right? Imagine a personal producer is like a stock. That one company could do great, they could do bad, that's it. Whereas an agency, you're more of a mutual fund. So outside of your own sales, you're compounding your results and you're developing a layer of consistency through an agency that's going to produce, because some people are going to have a bad day or bad week. Some people are going to have a great day and a great week. So I built an agency which truly, truly helped. Next one, and part of that is I trained other people. So through training other people, I also improved my own abilities, because before you can train, you have to learn to be able to teach. So I started training other people and duplicating myself, which leads to point number 14. I started running a 6-step process, which I was taught when I first got into the industry, but then I really understood it later on as I matured, which was 1, prospecting, 2, calling, 3, presenting, 4, follow-up, 5, startup, and 6, duplicate, right? So in 2 aspects, if you're recruiting and you're building an agency, that duplication means that you're helping those agents go out there and get licensed, get trained, and be able to build their own agency. If it's on a client part, that duplication meant getting referrals, learning how to get referrals better. That was extremely important. You know, there's a great script that I learned on emergency contacts. Your policy has living benefits, Mr. Client, which means if you had cancer, a heart attack, stroke, a critical injury, critical illness, something goes wrong, somebody needs to call me, and if you're not able to, they may not know you have this policy. Who would you like to list as an emergency contact outside of your spouse? 3 to 5 emergency contacts. Who would those be for you? Boom, 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 boom. Great. Can you let them know you put them as an emergency contact, just so when I call them and I give them my info and the insurance company info, they know it's really me. It's really about something that you're doing. Yeah, of course. Okay, cool. Send them a text. When do you want me to call them? Well, I'll text them tomorrow. Great. I'll call them the day after that then. Okay, awesome. So I learned how to get referrals. So that's the duplication part. And then teaching other people how to do that as well. And then lastly, guys, I developed other leaders. To really build something big at one point in life is a replacement game, right? When you think about this thing, you're human. If you choose to have a family, I have one beautiful boy, another one that's on the way. And so grateful for my family, for my wife and our kids and my parents. And I'm so grateful for this life that God has blessed us with, right? What am I doing? I'm going through life. My father, right, taught me everything that he could. My mom taught me everything that they could. Amazing parents. And then my job is to go become better, right? To take what they taught me plus what God's taught me, my natural given abilities, my work ethic, my skill set, my learned abilities, and then to go become better so that what? That my son could be a better version of my father, better version of me, so that he can be better, so that his son can be better, right? And when you think about just human civilization, right? Our job is to pass on a set of beliefs, skills, knowledge, values, wealth, whatever that is, to pass that on for that next generation. Life is all about duplication. That's what the human race is. That's any species. It must duplicate or it will die. And so I realized that there's a lifespan to anything and anybody. And so your job is to be able to replace yourself to develop other leaders that at one point can compound your results and help you build a business through building their own business, but at one point also have the ability to continue to excel and outdo you when you're no longer there because you taught them the right things, you gave them the right systems, the right coaching, the right mentorship, you set the right example. If you guys have any specific questions about a targeted area, please reach out. I obviously coach and mentor our agency, but if there's anything that I can do to help another human being, I have some great friends in different companies, and I believe there's a huge need, so I'm grateful. As much as we love to compete, I'm grateful for them in the industry. I'm grateful for the friendship. If there's something I could truly do that's going to make your life better, I'm all for it, whether we work together or not. So please reach out, send me a private message. Our contact information is below. Send me an email. However you want to reach out, get my contact from LinkedIn or Instagram, reach out to me. I love to help you. Please post in the comments below what you got from this and how it helped you. We'll see you on the next video. Take care, everybody.